चुप चुप का वीडियो देख रहा है, क्या मतलब लाइक करने का और सब्सक्राइब करने का बोलना पड़ेगा? Okay guys, watch the video, like, comment, share, subscribe, press the bell icon and thank you. Hello guys and welcome to the episode 29th of the Elitistic Show / podcast, depends on wherever you're listening to me, and I have a question for you today. And I know I'm on the fire, but I have a question for you today, and the question is, if I ask you, go and learn beer hunting, there are two options. Like literally, to learn anything there are two options, and to learn beer hunting there are two options. क्या आप एक ऐसे बंदे के पास जाएंगे जिसको beer hunting का सब कुछ पता है? Like he knows the steps, he knows the theory, but he has never actually hunted a beer in his life? Or will you go to a person who hunts beers for a living, who hunts beers day and night and day? Would you go to that person, or would you go to the theorist, the good old theorist जो आपके classroom में बिठा के he would say, okay, hunting a beer, step 1, find a beer, step 2, kill a beer, step 3, wow, mission accomplished. Like, would you go to that person? Heck no, because that person can get you killed, right? अगर आप उसकी बातें सुन के you go and you hunt a beer and you have this spear or your sword or maybe your knife, क्योंकि maybe your gun, क्योंकि आप तो spear और sword वाले ज़माने चले गए, पुराने ज़माने थे. But if you go with your gun and you don't know what to point at, you don't know how to shoot, you don't know how to do any of that, because you have never done this before, plus you have nothing to guide you. You only had a good old theorist who said, step 1 is to find a beer, you find a beer, step 2 is to kill a beer. Well, actually you don't know how to do step 2 or step 1, and then step 3 is like never accomplished. So that guy, he can get you killed. What if you find a beer and you don't know how to kill him? You don't know how to hunt him? Then you are doomed. Like the beer is staring at you and you're staring at him and you're like, Panky, oh yeah, you have any problem? So that guy can really get you killed. My advice is go to the second guy. Go to the second guy who hunts beers day and night and day, who does that for a living. Go and learn from him. Be with him. He will take you to the jungle and he will show you how to do it, and he'll guide you once. And maybe he'll guide you twice. And then you practice it and then you get good at it. And guess what? Now you're beer hunting too. Now you're an expert at it. But do you see, the problem with us is our education. This is what I call the beer hunting theory. Our education system runs on this theory. It makes us learn from the theorists. It makes us learn from the teachers. But the teachers are not doing what they're teaching in their real life. They're not doing what they're preaching. They do not live what they preach. If you don't live what you preach, how can you preach it? So you see, to me, teaching is not a profession. Teaching is not a real profession to me. Teaching is a very soul kind of act. Teaching is a very, like, I love teaching. It's because teaching is very simple. That's my definition of it. There's my definition of teaching. It's if you have learned and you know how to climb a mountain, a certain mountain, any mountain, and you go and you say, okay, there are two people and I'll lead them and I'll make them learn how to climb this mountain. And then at the end of the mountain and the end of the process, you make them learn how to climb that mountain. You become a preacher, you become a teacher. But for that to happen, you need to be an expert at climbing that mountain and many mountains like that. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? If you're not an expert, you don't know how to do it yourself. You know the theories. You need to have a bag, you need to have your hiking gears, you need to have your hiking shoe, you need to have a bottle of water, you need to have some food, you know everything, but you have never climbed a mountain. You cannot take anyone else onto that mountain. You cannot take anyone else onto that journey. See, teaching is when you have been through a journey and you can create a result for yourself first, then you can do that for other people. Then you can do that for other people best. See, that is why teaching is just so, why I think teaching is so beautiful, and why I also think that teaching is not a real profession. You preach what you know. You guide people what you know about. It's like you might not be a teacher by profession, but you might be good at one thing and you might be leading so many people at one time. You might be leading people to teach, learn to climb that mountain. And then you'll be a teacher, you'll be a preacher. And it's so beautiful to me just because the connection you have with those people, the journey you make them go through. You see that mountain climbing, that result creating in their life, it's very difficult for them. It might be easy for you because you have done it, but it is extremely difficult for those guys who are down there, who are not on the journey. And when you take them, you guide them through a journey and you give to them, and at the end of a journey, you see them happy and you see them smiling at the top of the mountain. It feels so good. It feels like you have impacted the world. It feels like you have given out something much more than yourself. You have helped someone. That is why I think teachers are best people on the earth. But they're in a bad system. They don't know they are in like the worst system ever. They don't live what they preach. They're just preachers. If you don't live what you preach, don't preach it, please, because you'll not be good at it. I'll give you my example. मेरे इंग्लिश के टीचर हैं, नो ऑफेंस हियर, नो ऑफेंस, एंड आई नो कि इस तरह के बहुत सारी और एग्जांपल्स होगी इन आवर एजुकेशन सिस्टम. मेरे इंग्लिश के टीचर हैं, ही नोज कि टेंसेस क्या हैं, फ्रेजेस क्या हैं, क्लॉज क्या है, सबऑर्डिनेट क्लॉज, एडजेक्टिव, एडवर्ब, नाउन्स, एंड I don't know many other things. I don't know the definition to most of those. But what I know is how to communicate using this language that I'm speaking right now. I know how to communicate so that people don't only listen to me, they don't only listen to my words, so that I convey some emotions. I convey something, I connect with you guys through this camera, through this video. I know how to use this language to move people, to create the kind of emotion, to create the kind of communication that I want with you guys, to create the kind of connection. You know, you and I have a connection right now. I believe if you're watching my videos and you have watched more than one of my videos, we have a connection. We are like friends. We are like brothers and sisters. So the thing is, he knows all the scientific method, or like in English. I don't know that, but I know how to use that language. How to use this language. How to speak it, how to write it, how to use it to communicate. Who do you think is smarter or intelligent? Not that I'm like up or I'm like greater than him. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say theory has its place, but real learning takes place when you are in that environment, when you are living and breathing in that environment. You see, I call this total immersion learning. And I think the best way to learn is total immersion. Total immersion means when you are just immersed in that environment. Day and night, night and day, you do that thing. Day and night, night and day, you live and you breathe that. That's when you're totally immersed in that environment. That's called total immersion learning. You see, you didn't learn driving by reading about it. मतलब I made this joke and I said कि एक दिन आपको कोई दोस्त आया, उसने कहा कि ड्राइविंग के 12 असूल. Write them down and you're a great driver. And like, do you think that's how this happened? Like, that's how people learn to drive? Like, you give them lectures and now they're geniuses. That's not how that happens. You didn't learn swimming that way. You don't learn a new language that way. You cannot learn swimming or cycling or driving or anything else just by reading about it. Because the reading is like the 1%. You learn by going into the water. You learn swimming by going into the water. You learn driving by getting into the driver's seat. And sure, you need some guidance. But that guidance must happen when you are in that water, when you see somebody do it, when your all senses are immersed, like you're completely immersed in that environment. That's when learning happens. That is called total immersion learning. And it's like, I think it's at least 100% more effective than the lecturing, the classroom learning that we have. You see, classroom learning it's just a tiny fraction of what your life is. Your life is like this big. Classroom learning is like this big. आपकी life एक classroom से, do you think all the learning can just like happen in a box? The box which we call a classroom? Like, do you think that's all your life? Like you can learn everything inside a box, or maybe you can learn everything inside a book too. Even these books are great. This is knowledge. This is real profound knowledge. And I don't know if I've told you, but profound knowledge is something that you learn that you can put to use immediately and create results in your life. Inside this book, I can learn the high performance habits, and then I can put them to use, and then I can create results in my life. You cannot do that with a Goodbye Mr. Chips. You cannot do that with a maths book. You cannot do that with a physics book. You can only, unless you're a physicist or a mathematician, but if I keep using the knowledge inside this book, I will get good at it. I will practice it. And in that case, if I use it, I'll be totally immersed in it, right? That will be total immersion learning again. So that's my whole point. This is why the education system fails. I mean, we have teachers who teach math, but they're not mathematicians. They don't live math, they just preach it. We have teachers who are English teachers, but they don't write or use English in their life, not on a consistent basis. They just preach it. Same with most of the other subjects. So this is where the problem is happening. Total immersion learning is what we need on anything. The theory has its place. I'm not saying that like completely take the theory off, कि बिल्कुल ही खत्म कर दें. I'm not saying that. I'm saying focus on what's more important. Like the theory, to me, I think the theory is this much important. And then the immersion learning, it's this much important. I mean, I know what benzene is. I know what ethyl alcohol and methyl alcohol and all. Those are like chemical compounds. I know what all of that is. But I don't know where to use them. I don't know how to make use of them. So what's the point? If I know the 6 high performance habits, by the way, if you have not read this book, please read this book. If I know the 6 high performance habits, I am using them on a consistent basis. I'm getting good at them and I'm seeing results in my life. I know where to use them and I am using them. I am living in that environment. So I'm much more smarter in this. And I'll share with you my experience when I was going to the gym. जब मैं gym जाने लगा ना, I made this decision. This was a big decision for my life, by the way. I'm an introvert and just going out and then doing all those weird exercises in front of other people. Wow. It's a concept for me. It was a concept. It was kind of like a dream for me. So when I was going out to the gym, I researched everything. Like I was spending my time on the internet figuring out the how to exercise, how to go to the gym, how to spend your first day in the gym, which exercises to do, which not to do. But by the way, that workout plan, that helped me and I'm following that plan. But do you know what happened? First day I was in the gym and I was exercising and मुझे कुछ भी नहीं पता था. I was like lost. I couldn't do what I know. Like I was completely lost. I felt like giving up. I felt like maybe this is not just for me. Maybe what I've read is all fake. So I had doubts inside my head. But do you know how I got good at it now? Now that I love going there and I love working out and I love exercising. Do you know how I got good at it? By going there again and again. Not by reading more, but by going and doing those exercises more. That's how I got good at it. And literally the first day, I was doing these shoulder presses and I hurt my rotator cuff. It was a rotator cuff injury, like a real injury, the first day. That's what I did. Even though I injured myself first day, I went there again. Because I know that's the only way I learn. By going there. It was really hard for me to like make decisions, get out of my house and then walk to the gym. And some days I would just feel like walking back. But I disciplined myself enough so that I can walk to that place. And then even if I was fearful, I did it in spite of fear. And that's how I got good at it. That's how you get good at anything. You immerse yourself into that environment. That's how you learn. You immerse yourself. That's called total immersion learning. If you want to learn Spanish, go to Spain. Like if you don't want to go to Spain, that's fine. Watch Spanish movies. But that's how we learn, guys. That's how we maximize our learning. Total immersion learning is the key, and that's what we need. That's what we need in our education system. That's what we need for ourselves. Theory is not doing it for us. Not now. The statistics. ये word मेरे लिए बोलना है बहुत ही मुश्किल है. Like statistics. Wow, I said it right. Statistics show that we are not effective at our learnings. Maybe we need to change the way that we are teaching, the way that we are preaching. We need total immersion learning. It has worked for me when I lived in that environment, whatever I was learning, and I know it will work for you. So go and try learning something by immersing yourself into that environment. Maybe it's tennis, maybe it's going to the gym like me, maybe it's, I don't know what it is, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's a new habit. The way you learn this is by immersing yourself. So go and do that, and I'll see you in the next one.